Today's guest is Drewski from Cryptid Warfare podcast and operations. Cryptid Warfare is a podcast that delves into mysterious and unexplained phenomena, focusing on encounters with cryptids, creatures whose existence is suggested but not scientifically confirmed. The show provides a platform for individuals to share their personal stories and experiences with such entities, fostering a community for those intrigued by the unknown. Let's get into it. We are live. All right, Mr. Drew. Drewski?
Yeah, Drew, it's fine, man. Drew,
all right.
Drew.
So tell us who you are and what you do, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, everybody. I just want to say, hey, first of all, Bennett, man, just want to say thank you for letting me be on the show. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, sorry is actually a little late, but yeah, I just had to deal with my son and all that, and
I get it. I
get them all.
I got 4 kids, man. I get it.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, but I had to get them all situated and stuff too. So, other than that, yeah, guys. Yeah, my name is Drew. People call me Drewski, so that's kind of what I kind of left it as. You can call me Drew, Andrew. It don't matter. So, other than that, I am the host of Cryptid Warfare and Conspiracies podcast. Just like old BT here. Actually have a podcast as well. Other than that, yeah, we just talk about conspiracies, cryptids, things paranormal, spiritual warfare, end times, all that stuff. So, you know, if anyone's got a story or anyone's got any like facts or anybody's knowledgeable in certain areas, you know, people just want to come on and chit chat, man. So I just have whoever and wherever on. So other than that as well too, I'm actually head of a cryptid research team as well too. So yeah, basically I actually have like a lot of guys who are in there who are prior law enforcement, prior military, stuff like that. So all of us come together. We all do like a lot of bushcraft, survival, stuff like that. So we actually do like a lot of spelunking, caving, and then we actually put the stuff that we use in our past jobs and stuff, and we actually try to help out people who are actually having problems when it comes to paranormal, spiritual warfare, or cryptids. But they're having actually physical problems as well too. So when it comes to them getting threatened or animals getting mutilated, stuff like that. So
right.
Yeah, so we basically go there, do a little research. If we have to be a little bit I should say on the physical part, of course, we actually practice a lot of I should say I'll just say that we just all hang out, we just train a lot. That's all I'll say. So other than that, yeah.
Your name kind of says a little bit about it. It's a little cryptid warfare, right?
Yeah.
Sure, that involves some spiritual warfare and some other things along those.
Yeah.
Because it's not some oh God, it's not like going to the zoo, man, where you just look at stuff. It's sometimes it's an interactive experience out there in the woods.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Right? So yeah. Yeah, man. So the first thing that attracted me, that caught my attention, was your name. I mean, this was months ago. I love the name Cryptid Warfare. Obviously, my background, it kind of lends to piquing my interest. But the one question that I ask all the guests that comes on is, so as you said, your podcast covers basically the same thing this podcast does, right? It's high strangeness in general, right? Of all ilk. So with that being said, what was your, I call it the gateway drug. What was your gateway drug to this universe, to this high strangenessville that we live in, right? Because once you see it, you can't go back.
Yeah.
But like me, mine was Bigfoot when I was young, ghosts, Bigfoot, but something usually sparks you to dive deep into this stuff. So for you, what was that?
Well, I guess to say it first started off, I guess the whole paranormal aspect. Yeah, that and UFOs. I definitely was a big UFO and alien junkie, like a long time ago. Like
Mhm.
watching like Fire in the Sky, stuff like that. So,
Great movie.
doing that, and then not only that, just doing like a lot of like backpacking and survival stuff like that. From my dad teaching me in the mountains and stuff. So learning about Bigfoot, and yeah, it's basically just Bigfoot and aliens, man.
Yeah.
So
Well, you kind of lived in the right area for it.
oh yeah.
Did you grow up there too?
Yeah, Colorado. Yes, I did.
Yeah. So yeah, it, it gets live out there as you.
Yeah, it does for sure.
um. So the first time I was exposed to you, besides the name, I already brought that up, was I want to say it was an episode. I honestly don't remember which podcast it was on, but it was on one of the bigger ones.
Mm.
And I might have been the confessionals, but I don't think it was. I'm not positive, but you talked about, so it was just kind of serendipitous. I told you my family lives out in Denver.
Mm.
You were talking about the Denver airport, which to
Yeah,
me has been one of the creepiest places I've ever spent time,
yeah,
right? Just because under the surface, there's just that like energy, that air of something ain't right,
yeah,
whether it's from the Lucifer or the tunnels or those damn paintings and some of the sculptures. That was like my first interjection of Drewski into my life. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's talking my language.
yeah.
So can you hit on some of that a little bit? Like your experiences in and around that spot? Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, man. Okay, I guess. Yeah, I guess we'll dive into it.
Just dive in. Just go in.
Yeah, man. So basically, yeah, like I said, like we're just chit chatting. Like I said, I was actually prior law enforcement. So, yeah. So when I was working in that area of Colorado, I'm not going to say the yeah. So I'm not going to say the
The
areas or
agency,
whatnot. Yeah,
right?
it's yeah.
Yeah.
You know how it is. You know
I
the
do. I do.
OPSEC and all that. So
Yep.
yeah, because I still have buddies that are still in it. But so in a nutshell, I work for the state. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, like I said, I was worked for the state of Colorado at the time. This is back in 2011 at the time, and so anyways, yeah. So I was on like this TAC team. It was SORT, Special Operations Response Team, SWAT, stuff like that. So we did a lot of executive protection. We did a lot of high custody transport, stuff like that. So our goal was to protect a certain guy. He was an executive over a certain entity. I'm just going to say the state of Colorado over. He was basically the executive of the state of the prisons over there in Colorado, not the feds, but the states at the
Hmm.
time. And it was yeah. So we had to basically just babysit him. We pick him up, take him to his meetings, follow him, stuff like that. Just follow him. Just basically just do just like day-to-day duties, whatnot. He goes to his meetings. We go with him, all that stuff. So, anyways, yeah. So I was tasked to hang out with him and a couple of guys I was with that day, and it turns out he had a meeting at the Denver International Airport. So we went to the precinct, checked our weapons in, went to roll call, all that stuff, and after that, everybody branched out. So me and 6 other guys were tasked to this guy. So picked him up, drove all the way out there, and then we ended up going through a back gate at the Denver International Airport. Drove to the back, pretty close to the tarmac, and then these gates opened and we went like this. We went down like this little concrete hill. It was almost kind of like a driveway. We just went down and we went underneath the airport. And it was literally like a bunch of tunnels. you actually had like maintenance people driving around. You had like all these little carts and buggies and stuff. People with like luggage and carts and stuff like that going in and out. So we just kept going, and I didn't know anything about that. I was like, what the frick? Okay, this is pretty cool. We actually got like tunnels under here, driving around. So we're just zigzagging. And then we ended up in this almost like parking lot area. We get out, these double doors open, and we see these two Air Force MPs come out, and the governor of Colorado comes out. I'm like trying to hold my cool because this is like super cool. I'm like jonesing out here. I'm like, dude, this is so cool. I don't know what we're doing, but this is so cool. I'm just glad I'm here, man. So after that, MPs check us out. We exchange information. So he leaves, and we're basically told, just to stand right here at the entrance of the doors, and we just wait. We're just chilling. I say the meeting was probably about like an hour and a half to like 2 hours, but at the same time we're there, you know how it is when you're just chilling, waiting, downtime. You guys just chit chat. So we're chatting about football, about the Avalanche, Denver Broncos, stuff like that, and we're just chatting about like guns, all that stuff. So we're actually just kicking it, with these guys. So, and then as people were going in and out, we see these double doors open again. I kind of peek my head in there, and I'm looking. I'm like, I'm trying to gather all this information as I can, and I see like boxes stacked up. And the thing that totally caught my eye, man, was I see train tracks right there. And I'm like, what the freak is this? And one of the guys who was I should say, well, the Air Force. What do you call it? Oh, it's not an MP.
They're an SP.
SP. Yeah, SP.
Security police or security forces.
Yeah, security forces. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm chatting with him. I was like, hey, man, when the heck did they add this on? And he's like, oh, dude, he's been here forever. These things go from here to NORAD, stuff like that. And I'm just like, what the freak?
Yeah, right. It's close.
It's
not that close.
Yeah.
From the DIA to NORAD is not that close.
Yeah. So I look across to one of the guys who are on the SWAT team, and I'm just like kind of making eye contact. And we have like that look. If somebody says something, you're kind of like, what? But we're trying to hold our cool. We're like, yeah, oh man, that's freaking crazy. So he's like, yeah, man, we just basically, if they use that, they just that's how they transport goods or items or things, without the public knowing. I'm like, oh man, that's a trip. So then after that certain person comes out, and he's just pissed off, man. I don't know if he had a bad meeting or what, but he's totally pissed off, and he's like, let's go. It's like, all right, man, well, later, guys, later. So we jump in the car, and I can tell it was just very quiet, and he's on his cell phone as we're driving back from Denver to Colorado Springs. And I don't know who the heck he's talking to, but he's like cussing up a storm. He's pissed off, and all he said was like, you know what, if they want to play hardball, screw it, we're going to freaking play hardball. This is bull crap. I'm not dealing with this, basically, in a nutshell. So we're just kind of quiet. And then by the time we drop him off, we go over to the precinct area, fill out our reports for the day. We just chit chat, and then I head home. And then I think it was about 6 months later in 2012, he gets murdered. This person we were protecting, he gets murdered on his off time. A certain inmate, paroled, went to his house, knocked on the door, said he was a pizza delivery guy. Daughter opened up the door, was like, okay, talk to him. He went to grab her dad. He walked up to the door, and that dude shot him with a shotgun. Boom. And then I'm pretty sure they caught him in Texas because he just took off after that. Wow. But anyways, yeah. So, So that was that. It's what kind of like, what the heck? That just kind of like got me down the whole rabbit hole of conspiracies and stuff like that.
That's a big hole.
Yeah. So, and what was crazy though, what totally topped it all off was at that same time after all it happened, it was in 2014 before I moved from Colorado to Tennessee. I was coaching my little brother's high school soccer team at the time. And then after my little brother graduated, and this was in 2014 before I'm literally before I moved here. I ran into one of my brother's friends, and he was working for a construction company, but they were doing mining at the time, and they were doing drilling. And I caught up to him, was like, hey, Joey, how you doing, man? And he's like, I'm doing good, sir. Da, da, da. I'm like, hey, okay, man. It's like, what's going on? I'm like, well, how you been? What are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm actually working for a construction company. It's actually like a drilling company, but he's like, it's weird, man. He's like, we're drilling tunnels, man. From We're out there at the edge of Pueblo, Colorado, and we're drilling all the way out to Colorado Springs, man. I have no idea what this is about. All I know is that we're getting a good paycheck, and yeah, so that's basically what we're doing. So, as we're drilling, they're laying train tracks and stuff, and everything just came for a full circle. I'm like, what the freak, man? Yeah, so I just kind of like
that's
gave it
crazy.
like a little confirmation. It was weird. It's really weird, but who knows, man?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things like you're like, well, what possible reason could they be doing this other than like, and I'm not gonna say shady right off the bat, but shady.
Yeah.
It's like what else? Like, what other possibility or reason do we need to have buried tunnels, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of reasons, none of which are for the public good, unless you expect something to go down and you're gonna put all these people in there. Know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
something along those lines. So it is definitely something special there.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, real quick, my fault. I was just rethinking. I got the date wrong. It was in 2013 that this dude passed away.
okay,
He got murdered. So
gotcha. Which is crazy. That's horrible. But,
yeah. Other than that, yeah. But I will tell you after we talk. I'll tell you who he is and stuff. And you can actually
gotcha.
look him up. So. Other than that, yeah, man. So after that, I definitely dove in the whole conspiracy side of it. So what's going on? And
Yeah.
then
How
one of
much
my
longer
buddies-
did you stay in law enforcement after that?
After that, like I said, 2014 of July. Yeah, 2014 of July is when I was done, and we packed up and we moved here to Tennessee.
Yeah,
So.
man. So, same for me.
Yeah.
2014. I was done. All of it.
Yeah, I hear that.
I'm out. I'm hanging up the belt,
Yeah, I hear that, man, for sure.
And then I moved to North Carolina for a bit.
There you go.
Yeah, man. So lived down there. Then I lived in Florida. Then I lived in Delaware and then moved back to New York. But it is what it is.
I got you, man.
I don't live in New York, though. I live in see, everyone assumes, and I know you're not one of those people, I'm sure, but
No.
everyone assumes that New York is New York City. And
no, man, New York's huge, it's beautiful.
It's ridiculously country. Like where I live, the number one radio station is a country radio station.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's New York. Like, and I live, 5-minute drive from some of the woodiest woods you're gonna ever find. Right. So yeah, people don't get it, but yeah, it's crazy. So with that being said, you moved to Tennessee. And what gets you first off, why Tennessee from Colorado?
Yeah, so I'll just basically do just like the cliff notes on this.
Yeah.
So anyways, so during that time when I was in law enforcement, me like in 2000, it was about like 2013, right a year before we moved here. Me and my wife were actually going through a hard time. So anyways, so in a nutshell, I was being a total jackass, and at the same time, you know how it is. If you don't have, if your partner doesn't understand what you go through, your partner can't really get on the same. Yeah, basically, if she doesn't understand what you're going through, she doesn't know how you feel. You really can't confide in that person, and if you do, it's really, really, really hard for them to understand. So what do? You totally confide in your battle buddies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the same time, that can be healthy or that can be the total opposite, man. So for me, it was basically, just the total opposite. I was confiding in these people I shouldn't have been, and they were giving me bad advice. And, to me, those those guys are family, you know, which they are, you know, I still talk to them and stuff, but the certain advice I was getting wasn't good, and I was just rolling with it. So I'm like, you know what? I bleed, I sweat with these people. You know, these guys are my family. So yeah, so I was basically just taking what they're saying, and you know, instead of me making my own choices, making the right choices, I was a total jackass, and I was totally just out there, just you know, just basically just doing like shenanigans, you know, cheating on my wife, stuff like that. So so instead of just, you know, taking it to the bottle or drugs and stuff like that, my main focus was just womanizing at the time, you know. So yeah, so during that time, I told my wife, you know what, I want a divorce. So she was like, what? And so she's like, tell you what, thank God for my wife, man. She's a hardcore trooper, and man, she's yeah, God's amazing, and I totally don't deserve her, but she had the right level head at the time. So she was like, I tell you what, before we go through this, she's like, let's take a separation. I'm going to go to Tennessee with my family. You still do what you want to do here. And you really, really think about what you want to do. And whenever that decision comes up, doesn't matter how long, she goes, I'm going to come back and then we can go from there. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So she leaves. So at the same time, God's really trying to get my attention. And at the same time, dude, like a lot of stuff's happened. Like God's really trying to get my attention. Like, dude, what the hell are you doing? You know? So in a nutshell, I had to get out of like that toxic environment. So, you know, if I wasn't gonna freaking drive my marriage in the ground, the freaking job was. So yeah, so like I said, I totally treated my job as my God. So I went in full 100%. But anyways, yeah, so God got a hold of me. So once you got back, um, I just told you know what, if we're gonna make this work, we need to just literally move. We need to pack up, we need to start all over. I need to get out of this. I need to get away. So I'm like, the job I'm in isn't healthy. The people I'm with isn't healthy. She's like, if I'm gonna do this with you, I need to start fresh. So she's like, okay, cool. I got a good spot. Let's just go to Tennessee. I'm like, screw it, let's go. Yeah, so man, so that's the reason why I moved here. And then one of the reasons why I moved here. And then when I came here, I literally went off of faith. I had no job. I was, you know, so yeah, so
Yeah.
that's basically it, man. So when we moved here, so I was literally trying to pick up the pieces, and I was okay, God, like, what do you want me to do? So I was like, I don't want to go back into law enforcement because, you know, of course, all this stuff's happening with the riots and racism and stuff like that. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna jump back into that. Why am I gonna jump back into something that almost tore apart my marriage? So yeah, so I just literally just went back to my old trade, man, which was sheet metal and welding. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm actually working over at the Nissan manufacturer. I'm like a quality control guy. So, but other than that, when it comes to shooting and stuff like that, I'm actually still training. I'm still, you know, teaching people how to shoot, stuff like that. So the part of me when it comes to law enforcement and shooting SWAT has never left. I still have that itch. I still serve at my church right now. So as basically in the security and stuff like that. So, but other than that, yeah, man. You know, just like you know, that part of you never dies. So, you know,
Doesn't.
you're always on
Yeah.
edge. You're always watching out for people. You're basically always like that sheepdog.
The vigilance never
It never
leaves,
ends.
right?
It never
Yeah, it
stops.
doesn't. So Western Tennessee,
No, I'm actually in Central Tennessee,
Central Tennessee.
middle Tennessee. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
I'm like a 30 minutes away from Nashville.
Gotcha. So yeah, so awesome. Yeah, one of my favorite I one of my favorite areas is over by like Maryville.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it over there. I've been over there a few times and spent some time in the wood. Mainly though, it was just because it's yeah. I have buddies that live in North Carolina as well, right over the
Okay.
mountains. So I've been there in that area a few times. It's pretty awesome.
I know, man.
But yeah, I don't know much about Central Tennessee, but um, I've got a friend that lives. I'm trying to think of where he lives now. It's right outside Knoxville, which is
Okay.
still way farther east than you
Yeah.
guys. But yeah,
But if
taxes
I
are
had
better
to,
there.
yeah. But if I had to live anywhere in Tennessee, I would actually move way out east, man, because it's beautiful out there in
Yeah,
Knoxville and like Mountain City and all that. It's beautiful out there, man.
absolutely. Yeah, and it's like you kind of get the best of both sides because you can head up into the mountains if you want, or you can,
Yeah.
stay down. So, yeah. which there's a whole lot of folks moving there, man.
There is,
So,
man. It's a trip.
so especially in our uh genre or our type of world, there's a lot of folks with Appalachia and everything being right there, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, man, stuff gets a little nutty. I just yeah. Because I think isn't that where like Tony Merkel lives, that
He does,
area,
man.
and then yeah, there's just a bunch of people, dude. It's crazy. So
Yeah.
so all right. So now we've moved out to Tennessee.
Mhm.
Things are better, obviously,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's awesome. That's always good to hear, man. And Christian.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, so you've kind of got what brought you to like who how did Cryptid Warfare move from you getting in there? It's like how did that get developed? How did the organization was it the organization first or was it like the podcast first?
I guess I would say it was the organization first. Yeah, like when I think about it, because that's what I was doing a lot more than the podcasting. Yeah, so in a nutshell, when I moved here, before that one at the same time, like I said, like when me and my wife were separated, she was here in Tennessee and I was back in Colorado. But at the same time, when I was in Colorado, she was unloading to the church that we go to now. She was getting counseling and help and stuff like that. But one of the people she was getting counseling from, he was the head of security at the time. Good friend of mine, Cameron. He was a straight up Bigfoot enthusiast, man. So what was funny was she was telling him about me and about my background in law enforcement and mountain and bushcraft and stuff like that. So and she's like, yeah, he also believes in Bigfoot and goes out on squatching and stuff like that. And he's like, really? So when I moved to Tennessee, my wife's like, hey, I got this church we can get plugged into. I'm like, let's do it. So at the same time, when like I think it's like the second weekend that we went there. The first weekend I was checking it out. Second weekend I was like, all right, God, like whatever you want me to do, I'll dive in and do it. I go, just whatever, man. He literally comes up to me. He's like, hey, man, I know who you are. You're Andrew, right? You're Sophia's husband. I was like, yeah, who the frick are you? He's like, hey, I'm Cameron, dude. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I just still don't know you. And he's like, yeah, man. We just started chatting it up. And then so he's like, hey, I'm actually in charge of the security team here at the church. So I want to know if you want to jump on, man. I'm like, yeah, man, 100%. Let's do it. So I did that for about a year. And then it took him about like a year to kind of warm up. And I noticed he was wearing like a Bigfoot hat. I was like, oh, cool, man. What's up with that? So he's like, come here quick. I'm going to talk to you. He kind of pulls me aside and he's like, all right, man, how deep are you into this? And I was like, dude. And then we
Is
totally
this
just
like
went on another
is this
level.
like a
Yeah.
hobby or are you like, hey, I just think Bigfoot's weird and it's cool and I want to put that
Yeah.
out there, but or are you like in it?
Exactly. So I was like, dude, like, so him and I connected on another level. And then about a month after that, it was in 2015, he's like, hey man, I'm going on a sponsored Bigfoot hunt. And man, he's like, dude, you want to go? I was like, I'm down, man. He's like, cool. He's like, cool, because a lot of people that are going, they're just videographers and people writing for like this little like city paper or whatever. He's
Yeah.
like, I have nobody who knows how to handle weapons. So if you can get a group of guys, man, to go with us, that would be awesome. I'm like, oh yeah, we're good. Yeah. So at that time, at that time when I was here for my first year, I was actually working for oh god, for Loomis, the arm guard trucking company,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, transport
Yeah.
money and all that.
The,
Yeah. So so that was actually before I got onto
the
Nissan. But
money folks,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, the money folks. So, but at that time, that's where I met like one of my best friends, Brian. Um, he's like my second, like he's basically like my right hand man when it comes to CW operations and all that. So I asked him to go, a couple of the dudes, and so we all went on this sponsored Bigfoot hunt just to be like security for these guys, make sure nobody died, did something stupid. So yeah, so we did on that, and then next thing we know, we just went on another hunt in Kentucky. went to this other place in Alabama, and we just kept going. Well, after that, Cameron had to slow down because his job took him somewhere else. He was traveling a lot. So I just kept doing it, man. So, and we just got leads
on
certain places and
Caught
stuff.
the bug.
Yeah. So, and then after that, every year, I just started to kind of like vet guys, right? You know, like working with them, stuff like that. Which, you know how it is. You kind of get to know people, and then you always comes up like that strange factor, like when you talk with people, you know, you kind of get to that next level, and then basically how I got all the guys that are on my team now. I got about 7 dudes on my team now. So,
Nice.
and we go out 4 times a year, like big hunts, and then sometimes on the weekends and stuff like that, you know. But we're always together, so we all of us all work together. We all train together, you know.
And that's CW operations, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Anyways,
awesome.
yeah. So, and then after that, we just kept going on hunts, and then one of the guys we got in our wasn't our crew. His name was Zuck. He was more of like a tech guy, right? So anything technical when it comes to drones, comms, stuff like that, laptops. I needed that guy on the team, so he was basically the guy. And he actually went to our church too, and he believes in high strangeness too, and his testimony is insane. So, anyways, yeah. So he got on the team. So him and I used to just chat a lot, just talk, and he's, you know, we're just talking. I was like, and then at the same time, I was actually listening to Tony Merkel's podcast and Wes Germer on Sasquatch Chronicles. I'm like, dude, we can freaking do this too, man. Let's just do it, man. So yeah, so it was like
we got stories, man.
Yeah,
we could tell the right.
So it was back in 2009. No. It was 2015. No, 2016. We started it. We only did like 4 episodes, and then life hit, and then we just had to stop, right? So then we started it back up again in 2002. I mean, no, sorry, 2002. 2022 is when we started it back up again.
Gotcha.
So, and then that's when we just hit the ground running, and then he had to step down about a year ago because he had some other conflict issues going on. So I just kept it going, man. So yeah, so I'm just doing the podcast, and I'm doing
fun,
CW
man.
operations.
Do you like it?
Love it?
I mean,
man.
do you love doing it?
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. You know, it's I definitely think it's a blessing, you know, because I get to meet people like you and other people and stuff like that, you know, and just, you know, I just love hearing people's stories, man.
Absolutely.
You know, or any information they got, you know. I'm a freaking sponge, man. Feed me.
So when you guys go out on, so you guys said you go out about quarterly, like on big hunts, right?
Yeah. So basically on the big hunts is when we go out for like a good like 3 to like 4 days, you know. But if we go on like little like micro like investigations,
like a weekend or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So what is your favorite place? Like, I'm not telling you to give away like research areas or anything, but like what's your where are you having experiences that you go regularly that
So it's in between, it's literally in 3 states, actually 4 states. So Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama. And then we just went on a recent one in Georgia, but we're still kind of filling that out. But those 3 ones, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Alabama.
Yeah, I might be going to Kentucky in the spring. And I'm not positive where. I can tell you after I look, like when we're done. Plus, I'm not gonna blow it up on out here. But so Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama. What have you now? Have those been like people saying, "Hey, I need your help," or is that like, "Dude, let's just try this out"? I heard, and then we went and tried it out. You know what I mean? Like found an area and got access.
Yeah. So all 3 of them were people asking for help.
Oh, gotcha.
So okay, so the first one was in Kentucky. We went on that sponsored Bigfoot hunt. It was actually a couple park rangers and people that my buddy Cameron knew. Were like, hey man, we're getting a lot of missing people in this area. We don't know what's going on. We try to have local law enforcement out here. We're doing what we can, but we just don't have the time or the manpower anymore. So if you guys want to snoop around, here's the area.
That seems to be the trend everywhere. We don't have the time, manpower, or the money.
Yeah.
And
So, you know, if you guys want to go out in this certain area, I'm not saying wink, wink, but if you want to go out in this area, you stumble upon anything, get as much intel as you can, let us know. Cool. Yeah, we're there. And then the other one was here in Tennessee. It was actually pretty close to where I'm at. This girl, her and her husband just moved recently to this cabin. This was 2 years ago, but Um, she actually heard the podcast. She heard what we did, so she reached out to me and Jessica Jones, and so she was actually having a lot of paranormal activity, a lot of cryptid activity. So certain things were running into her house, shaking it,
Wow.
scratching at her doors, on the roof. They were actually killing her chickens. And she literally had a cave that was 30 feet away from her house. So yeah, and then her neighbors said that they saw something 9 foot running across the field, so it made the neighbor move out. And yeah, so she was having just a lot of things going on, and she had no idea what to do or who to call. So and yeah, so she just hit us up, and we went out there for about a good 3 days, to see what we can do.
Yeah. So 9 foot. So that's one of two things, pretty much, right? So, whether it's Sasquatch or Dogman, what is your? Do you have experiences with one or both?
Yeah, I've had experiences with Dogman, Sasquatch, and Skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers as well.
Yeah.
Can you share any of those?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So this place we went to was in Whitleyville, Tennessee. I think that's where it was at. So this area we went to, like I said, this girl, she was having problems on her land. So basically, in a nutshell, she moved there, and like I said, she had this cave that was 30 feet away from her house. So
It's just insane.
she was, yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like the area she was at was,
Like real life cave, like
yeah,
limestone, the whole thing.
straight up cave, man. Yeah, they actually had the Tennessee Caving Convention go there for certain
Wow.
colleges just to freaking check it out. But we actually learned that when we went over and talked to her and investigated and stuff. But anyways, so she moved there. She went to this cave. She's a very spiritual person, right? So she gave an offering of tobacco at the entrance of the cave and just
Mm.
let the land know, like, hey, we're living here. I'm just letting you know this is a peace offering. Anybody in here or out here, anything like that listening, she's like, we're here just to live, and basically just to respect your guys' land. So here
Yeah.
you go. Here's an offering.
Super smart.
Yeah, but she didn't know though. What happened was after she did that, everything just went gangbusters, right?
Mm.
So she started to see shadow people. She started to see forms of dogmen. She saw footprints that led to her chicken coop. A lot of her chickens were getting killed. And then that's when her and her husband put up cameras, right? So next thing you know, you see on the cameras, her cameras are getting moved or getting pulled down, everything cut out. And yeah, her chickens were just dying slowly. Feathers were going into the cave. So and she started seeing shadow things running in and out of her land and in front of her porch and stuff. So she had no idea what to do. So anyway, so she called us up and she called Jessica Jones. And so me and Jessica linked up and she talked to one of her buddies who, because she had an idea, like she said it was, I was like, well, is this freaking dog, man? I don't know. I was at a loss. So she's like, I think it could be Skinwalker, but I was like, I thought Skinwalkers were on the West Coast,
Yeah,
Midwest,
like that they're
Navajo,
like out west,
stuff
right?
like that. Yeah. So she's like, well, if there's an Indian tribe, there's always a medicine man. And if there's a medicine man, there can always be a skinwalker anywhere. I'm like, okay, well, try to dig up as much intel as you can. So, anyways, yeah. So she talked to one of her buddies who's called William Nighthawk. He is he's living nowadays, but he was taught of the old ways basically. So his grandma was a medicine woman, so she learned the black arts and she also learned, I guess, like the white arts, basically,
Mm-hmm.
like the light arts. So but he is a man of God, but he also practices that stuff too. So he's kind of caught up in the middle of it. But anyways, so he did some digging in this area where she lived at, and it turns out that what he found out through his tribe and the people and stuff like that, and he also worked for the DOD at the time. He found out in a nutshell, basically, that a long time ago there was I guess a battle between three tribes, and against these three tribes were against these three rogue medicine men that were in the
Mm.
area, right? So these three medicine men were actually skinwalkers, I guess, at the time. So they were causing havoc between these three tribes. Well, these three tribes, I guess, got their best warriors together and their other medicine men that were good, and they basically tracked these guys and they chased them into this cave. Well, it turns out that they killed them in this cave, but they also put a hex on this cave that their spirits, the skinwalker, couldn't come out. right? So basically, in a nutshell, anything that's offered at the entrance of that cave breaks that contact, right? Breaks that barrier.
Mm.
So kind of funny.
Damn.
It's almost like a virgin lit the candle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
hocus pocus, yeah. So yeah, so that was basically what happened in a nutshell. He's like she literally made an offering at the entrance of that cave, and then all this happened. So
Right, thinking she's doing the right thing, right?
yeah,
And oh man,
yeah. So yeah,
that's intense. Holy crap!
yeah. So yeah. So after that, we all got there, and then of course I'm looking for something physical. So because I'm seeing things that are physically dying, like chickens and whatnot, and
Right.
seeing footprints and take pictures of that, and seeing the claw marks on the house, and so I'm like, okay, yeah, man, there's definitely something coming out of this cave. And what was cool was that on the side of instead of us cryptid hunting, we love going camping and we love caving. We actually really do love like spelunking and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is like, oh man, hell yeah, this is awesome. So, anyways, yeah, so we get there, we actually set up camp and all that, and we oh, here comes my boy. Anyways, yes, we set up camp and all that. I'm just gonna throw him up here with me. Anyways, yes, we set up camp and then we actually throw up a drone and then we do like a perimeter sweep and all that as Jessica's talking to this girl, and then we're checking out this area and yeah, so we're just trying to gather like as much intel as we can. So next thing we know, we're like, you know what? Let's just go in the cave, man. Let's just go in there. So we actually get our night vision, cam lights, flashlights, rope. Um, so we go in there as far as we can go, and we actually have two guys at the entrance of the cave, and then there's about a good six of us going into the cave. And yeah, so we just go as far as we can go, man. And we literally had to stop because we actually ran out of rope.
Wow.
So yeah, we all together we brought like about a good 350 foot of rope.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about 400 foot of rope, something like that. So we actually had to turn back around. So yeah, like I said, we actually ran out of rope. So but other than that, we saw claw marks. It was weird, man. We were going through tight crevices and stuff, and we're seeing. We actually saw feathers. We saw like a little like we actually ran to like this little like fire pit area. It was
Mm-hmm.
crazy. It was like a little fire pit, but you look straight up to the cave, and it was almost looked like a chimney shot to go up.
Oh
And
wow.
so we did that, and yeah, so we basically got as much intel as we could. Um, so we kind of just really didn't see anything. We didn't see no footprints, no nothing. But they did like their whole paranormal, spiritual stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of backed off from that because I don't like to tap into that. But other than that, she let us know where there was other caves where she's seen, I guess, like that 9 foot entity run out of.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to go investigate that, and then we ran in. Then we actually found another cave that was even farther. So we went into there, and then that was when me and the guys thought we saw a crawler, like a freaking
Yep.
legit crawler.
Wow.
And so as far as when it comes to the Appalachian rules and all that, don't whistle.
No.
So in one of the videos that my buddy was recording, we literally saw this shadow thing poke out like that and put its head back. So I started whistling to see if we can coax it out.
Oh shit.
So, but at the same time, all of us had our pistols up,
Yeah.
looking, and yeah, just it didn't come out. So we're like, well, the cave narrows to where we can have to go in a single file. I'm like, no, man, this feels like a fatal funnel. Let's just back
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. This is like
Yeah,
sucking this in, man.
this is good, man. Yeah, so so we basically just walked out. So and then we climbed back out of the cave, and then we found some more footprints of this thing. I will actually send you the footprints and stuff, the pictures of it
Okay.
and stuff. So and then we tracked it to this barn. It was in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, so it was in the middle of nowhere, and I'll actually show you the video on that too. And yeah, so we didn't really find anything. We just saw the footprints go in this barn,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that we didn't actually see anything. So my buddy's got video of us clearing out this barn, and we actually couldn't find anything. So our objective was to try to find something physical, and then Jessica's role was try to find something like spiritual and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So we came up broke, like we basically couldn't find anything, so we just came up broken when it comes to finding anything physical. So we're like, okay, that was kind of a bust. So, but other than that, that's when we noticed, okay, this is definitely spiritual. So we actually prayed over her house, and so we prayed over her, prayed over the house, prayed over the land, and then
Mhm.
after that, man, we just talked about Jesus a little bit, and then we just said, hey, we just did the best we could. If there's anything else, physically, you guys see anything, try to get it on camera. Try to collect hair samples if you can, and then just basically, just give me a call back, and we'll try to get the guys up here again as quick as possible. But other than that, man, it's basically just the whole nuts and bolts of it when it comes
Yeah.
to
Have you heard back from her?
yeah, as far as that, her and her husband actually had to move out, so they were like, yeah, we're done. So they just
Oh man. Now did
yeah,
they move
so
out because of this, or did
yeah,
they?
so it turns out that these shadow entities and stuff like that were getting in the house now. So she was
Mm,
having these things in the house, so it was just getting too much to where it was actually her sanity going nuts. So she's like, what, we're done. So they moved out a little bit towards Nashville in that
gotcha.
area. So yeah,
Which to get into the house, that's usually some sort of consent thing, but
yeah,
I,
yeah. I think it was because I know that she was still trying to talk to them through. I
come
guess.
on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
with like a talk box and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. No,
um,
it's,
yeah,
I mean, but it is what it is. People, it different strokes for different folks, right?
hmm
So
yeah. But as
whatever
far as
they,
that, yeah. But I know she's not. I don't know if she's not tapping into that anymore. So she kind of, as far as I know, she went down that rabbit hole for a little bit. But
yeah.
other than that, yeah. Other than that, I just talked to her about like a week ago. She's doing pretty good now. Her and her husband are
Okay.
doing good. So.
Yeah. Wow. What about can you talk about any of the other events, the Kentucky or Alabama?
Yeah, man. Okay, as far as
Or
the
what do you
Kentucky,
want to talk about,
oh, I don't care, man. Whatever you want. I
Okay,
I
that's good.
am an open book.
Yeah, either one or both. It's up to you.
Yeah, man. Okay, so let's get in real quick. So yeah, so as far as the Kentucky one, I'll throw that one up real quick. That was actually the first hunt I went on. It was like the sponsored Bigfoot hunt I went on. So with that one, my buddy Cameron had everything going good and all that. So we were out there for like 2.5 days. So this area where we're at, it was the Cave, Mammoth Cave International, a national forest. So yeah, so we're out there, and this area we were at, we actually had to we actually had to drive the vehicles on this ferry, right?
Hmm.
And it took us across the river. Well, the crazy thing is that they opened at 7 and they closed at 7 at night. So you had like that 12-hour gap. If anything happens, you're on your own.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh man, I don't like this. This is a bad feeling. So, oh well, it is what it is. It's part of the game. So, anyway, so we do that, and then we set up camp, and then we're out there, going to these certain hot spots on like this mountain island. So he sets up like chicken liver and stuff like that, and puts up cameras and stuff. So this guy's on another level, man.
Yeah, no.
So he's like,
So like, are we talking about the national park? Are we?
yes,
Yeah.
the national
So
park, yeah, the Mammoth Cave, yeah,
shocker. It's a national park.
yeah, the Mammoth Cave National Park, yeah. Anyways, yeah, so he does all that, but so we're not getting any bites or anything like that. So we actually head up to this other area, and it's pushing like 2 in the morning. So as we're meandering up this mountain, um, we actually bend this corner, and we see this SUV, man. The doors were just flung open, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. So I told him, hey, stop. So as an ex law enforcement guy, you same thing, like you want to go investigate, right? So the thing that caught my eye was I didn't really care about the doors being open. It was like the freaking baby carrier that was on the ground, and the blanket
Hmm.
was on the ground. That's what got me. I'm like, oh God, no.
Right.
Hopefully anything bad didn't happen. So we get out, we investigate, and the way the vehicle is parked, it's like parked facing this trail, and this trail leads down to the river. And so as it's facing the river, you have like a tree line that's surrounding it. And yeah, so as that's going on, I'm over there looking at the driver door. I go over there to the baby carrier, look in there. There's no baby in there, thank God. So that's a good thing. Well, one of the guys who went, his name's Ben. He was a big time skeptic, and that's the thing I love as I love bringing skeptics. So it kind of like it kind of like makes them or breaks them. But so when it came to that, he was on the passenger side looking, gathering information. My buddy Cameron's on the phone, and you got all the rest of the people looking around, calling to see if anybody's okay or if anybody's around. At the same time, I'm looking in the driver door, and I go from the driver door over to the passengers, over to the over to the uh, over to the back, right behind the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
I hear this whoa, like this big gutturally whoa, like growl almost, but it was like almost kind of like a gorilla whoa, like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that got me. It felt like my back was up against the subwoofer on like a Metallica concert.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as it did that, I felt my back get hit in like my intestines, and it literally felt like all my organs just like shook.
Yeah.
And then my head started to get dizzy.
Yeah.
And I
You got
almost
zapped,
fell.
buddy.
I almost fell, and my left hand grabbed the top of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I literally spun, pulled my pistol, went all the way around to the other side, looking. And then my buddy Ben pulled out his pistol, and he's like, "Did you effing hear that? Did you effing hear that?" So that gave me confirmation. Cool, I'm not crazy. And yeah, so so after that, I'm just kind of like, "What the freak was that?" I didn't know anything about infrasound at the
Yeah,
time.
right.
I didn't know
That,
anything
oh
about that.
man.
So my buddy Cameron's on the phone with the park rangers as he's trying to talk to him, telling him what's going on. And he comes running over. He's like, "What was that?" And I told him. And next thing we know, my buddy Zook, who helped me start the podcast, was a camera guy. And he just does things and he doesn't think. So he goes like, "Oh, cool. What was that noise?" And he's running up to the bush to the tree
Oh
line.
no,
And
yeah.
I go running up to him and grab him. I go, "What are you doing?" And I pull him back. And next thing we know, we hear this. It literally sounds like a four-wheeler is crashing through the trees, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, what the freak? So, anyways, yeah, so that was that. And then as he's talking to the park rangers, we kind of just gather everybody. So me, Ben, Zook, and two other guys, we go straight down that trail that the vehicle was parked in front of to see if anybody's down there towards the river. So we didn't see anybody. So the whole thing was just weird, man.
But
So
the SUV was still like,
SUV, yeah, it was just
and it was
everything was flung
open.
open. It was open. Everything was flung open. Clothes were
Wow.
out. Everything was spilled on the ground. Like it was weird, man. Like
Mm.
something drug them out, or they just left in a hurry. I don't know.
Or something rummaged through it.
Yeah,
Did that how it looked? Sort
yeah,
of.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, so that was that, and then yeah, we didn't hear anything else about that, man.
That's always crazy.
Yeah, and
Man.
then I think like the scariest one I ever been on was in Mountain City, Tennessee. So this is where I learned I never ever go out without at least five guys anymore. So um, I gotta hook you up with one of my good buddies. His name is Nick Valente. He was in the
Okay.
military as well. He was in the army. He was in special forces, and he worked for Blackwater at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
then he worked for I think he worked for the CIA or the DOD. I forgot. Anyways, yeah, I'll just have him tell you. But at the same time, he was actually part of a critter control team. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So yes, we did that for a couple of years, and then he is in charge of the International Dogman Project, is what it is. So, anyways, yeah. So he's the one that told me, he's like, "Look, man," because I was telling him about what happened to me in Mountain City, Tennessee, and he's like, "Look, dude, you never ever go without at least five guys, man." I was like, "Well, yeah, you're right," and I learned the hard way on that. So, in a nutshell, we got asked to go to this area because this lady was having problems on her land, of course. And in Mountain City, Tennessee, there's a lot of homeless out there. There's a lot of people
Yep.
living out on logging roads.
Some feral folk.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But there's a lot of people that end up going missing, or they see animal attacks, right? People getting ripped apart. So We're like, oh, this is a good area to look at. So we go investigate this area. We talked to a lady, talked to a couple of locals, talked to law enforcement. So they kind of steer us in this direction where they're where they have like a bunch of logging roads at and stuff. And this is where like a lot of homeless and stuff were at. So we go check it out, talk to the locals, and they're like, yeah, you guys want to see some high strangeness? Just keep going. Just keep going down these log roads. So we go about like 9 miles deep. And anyways, after that we just go as far as the trucks can go. And we just set up camp, and then we just just start cooking. And like, okay, this is this pretty good area. This is where the locals say that this is where like they'll end up missing, or they find people dead and stuff like that. So
Right,
it's a good spot. So anyways, yeah, so we're just chilling out, cooking, and at that same time, I only bring my buddy Paul. He's been with me since the beginning. Him and Brian have. Brian couldn't make it. He had some stuff come up, and my buddy Juice and DX weren't on the team just yet. So, so my buddy Taylor, he was the one I was vetting at the time. He was a total skeptic. He went just because, hey man, it's camping, but you want to go Bigfooting? Whatever. I'll just go hang out and basically, just to watch you fail. So, anyways, so we just get done eating. Paul goes in his tent. He's pushing about like midnight. He gets in his tent. He's like, hey man, I'm gonna crash out a little bit. I'm like, all right, man, go ahead. So me and Taylor are up, stoking the fire, chit chatting, drinking coffee, whatnot. And so after that, where we're at, we have the truck parked a little ways out. We actually had to hike in a little bit. And there's like mountains. I wouldn't say mountains compared to the Colorado, but here in Tennessee, I guess there are mountains. But to me, you actually had hills on all sides, right?
Yeah, kind of like a holler, right?
Yeah. We're actually like in a holler. So so we both hear something coming down this holler, branches breaking, stuff like that. The thing is, though, with me is that anytime we go camping, anytime we do anything, I always set a 50-foot radius perimeter alarm around where we're at. Set up security, to give us heads up. So I did that. Thank God I did that, because this thing that was working its way down the holler.
What do you usually use?
I
Or is that
usually
trade secrets?
Yeah. So I use three things. Of course, you can go your old-fashioned fishing bells, right?
Yep.
Or I use door alarms or window alarms.
Yeah, like driveway alarms or things like that.
Yeah. Well, like those alarms, you can stick on your window, you lift it up, it goes do 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 do. Yeah, that. Or if not, the old-fashioned shotgun pin.
Yep.
Shotgun. Boom. That. So so what I used at that one, I used like the door alarms, like the perimeter alarms, the door alarms, the window alarms. Yeah, so I used that. So I just got those, put some JB Weld on there and thicker magnet, and we're good to go. Fishing line, we're good to go. So I did that. And anyways, so this thing's working its way down the holler, and we hear it, but we hear it stop. So we're focused on the north part of the area. We're just kind of looking. Well, I can definitely tell that my buddy T's kind of like getting nervous. He's like, dude, what is that? What is that? I don't know, man. You tell me. And he's like, got some feral folk out here. I go, I don't know, man. And he's like, this don't seem right. So we hear something running bipedal on the left side of us, running. And Taylor's just like breathing heavy, and he's like, dude, this is a trip. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's whatever's here, it's here. And then we hear something running on the right of us, and it stops. And next thing I know, the perimeter behind us goes off. The alarm goes off. So we turn. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So you got multiple things. It's either that or it's the same thing, but it's circling now at this point.
Yeah. So anyways, like I said, like the south alarm goes off. So we get up, rifles up. What sucks about that certain alarm is that I have to go reset it every time it goes off.
Yeah, right.
Go physically reset it. If not, it'll keep going all night. So we go over there, reset it, don't see anything. What sucked though at the time was this was actually in November. So all the leaves have fallen. You can't really see good footprints, but you can see pathways. That's it. So yeah, so we really can't see much. So we have our NVGs on, we got our rifles up, lights, stuff like that. So we can't see anything. So after that, I get the south alarm done. Next thing I know, the north alarm goes off. So we're worried about Paul. So we go hauling over there. Paul's in his tent with his pistol out. He's like, "Hey man, we got contact." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, just let me know." And he goes back to bed, man. And that pissed me off. I was like, "What the hell's wrong with you, man?" So anyway, so yeah, so he goes back and he's just chilling out in his tent, sleeping. And then after that, it just kind of gets quiet. And then me and Taylor are kind of like back to back, stoking what we have left of the fire. Well, then it starts to rain. And we're like, man, for real? Next thing we know, all the perimeter alarms go off, man. So part of my language, I just say, fuck it. And I just pick a tree that's a good 20 yards out, and I just start firing. Boom, boom, boom. Lay off like 3 to 4 rounds. And we hear these things just running away, kind of. Just kind of just going.
Yeah. No, I got you.
And then we just sit there. Well, it's still raining. The fire goes out. So Taylor's like, "Dude, I'm just going into my tent." I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's cool. I am too." So he goes in his tent. I go in my tent. And Paul's like, "You guys good?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're good, man. Just whatever."
Just like, shot off a couple rounds.
Yeah. So yeah, he was awake. He's yelling out, "You guys good?" I'm like, "I don't know, man." So he kind of pokes his head out with his pistol and looks, and as we meander in our freaking tent. So he goes to sleep. I'm still up. I'm proned out, rifle up, nods on. I'm just listening. I'm not hearing anything. It's just quiet, and I hate that anticipation. It's one thing I hate is anticipation. Yeah. And I start to kind of doze off. So I doze off, and I wake up with this god awful zombie noise, like. Bleh. Well, it was Taylor. Taylor, I guess, is out of his tent and he's throwing up.
Oh my god!
So I get up and I'm like, "Dude, you okay?"
The zombies are coming.
Yeah, I know. So I'm like, "Dude, are you okay?" And next thing I know, the perimeter alarm literally behind his tent goes off. And, we see these trees shaking. So Taylor spins around and says, "F it." He starts sending rounds in that direction. I start sending rounds at a tree trunk. And I'm like, "Dude, you don't know what's out there. Stop sending rounds and something you don't know what's out there. You just pick that tree and just shoot,
Right.
We get a visible target, you don't know what the freak's out there, So, but we had that conversation later.
Yeah.
So I was yelling at him.
Because if you kill a person.
Yeah, you're, what the hell? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So after that, he sends rounds down. I send rounds down, and that's it. Everything just stops. So we actually go fix that alarm and we head back. And I'm like, "Dude, what the freak happened?" And he's like, "I woke up, I was sitting up, I kept hearing this, woof, woof. And as I come out of my tent, I pulled my rifle to look around, and I hear this, woof. And next thing I know, I look up at the stars, and everything just starts spinning, man. And then I literally just start throwing up. He's like, "But here's the thing: is that we all ate the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
None of you guys are sick,
Yeah.
So what? I don't know what was that." He goes, "Next thing I know is that I heard this, almost like this growl and this like grunt, and I'm throwing up. Everything's spinning, man." And he's like, "And everything on my inside is just weird." And I'm like, "I think you got hit with infrasound, brother."
That's
what it was, man. So I think they hit you with infrasound, and they were gonna come get you. So, and then after that, he's like, "Dude, I'm a straight up believer, man, because who in the hell in their right mind is going to be running around out here in the nighttime messing with dudes with ARs?"
And it's one thing that, it's one thing to say, like, it's one thing, like, when you're telling the story, right?
Yeah.
And people that have experienced this stuff, we get it, because not everyone, but a lot of us have experienced similar things, right? And, I mean, I've got friends that won't go in the woods anymore. Like, that's it. Like, they're done. So it's what I always say to like my family. When they start in, I'm like, "Hey, you're more than welcome to come out there with us, You turn around and you won't want to go in the woods anymore. You won't want to go for a hike around, the lake, let alone go in something deep, right?
Yeah.
We do we do a lot of work in the Allegheny National Forest, and stuff gets live, brother. I mean, right there in Mountain City, you're right by Jacobs Creek Range, the Appalachian or the Appalachian Trail runs through there.
Mhm.
Everything. So you're like in it, in Mountain City. Like that's.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. After that, I literally like, hey, man, let's just slow down a little bit. So we literally didn't go out for about a good 8 months, man.
Yeah, because you're right on that. That's right on the border. It's just on the Tennessee side. And that seems to be a very target-rich environment, is that whole border area between Tennessee and North Carolina.
Mhm.
When you get into some of those deep spots, like there's some weird shit going on.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's not just, that's so many people say that. So it's that's amazing. But man, I actually hate it. I don't want to end this. But I'm running out of time. So what I would like to do is, this is obviously, I think it's a first conversation of multiple that we can have. But if you could just tell everybody all your information again, where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, man. So like I said, I have a podcast, and if you guys want to hit me up, you guys got a story, you guys want to chit chat, or you guys need any prayer requests or anything like that, you guys got any encounters or stories, hit me up at Cryptid Warfare.
I'll put the website on the show notes too.
Yeah,
the links.
cryptidwarfare@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on Instagram, Cryptid Warfare, or Facebook. I'm under Drewski Andrew. You can find me that way. And then if you guys have any, any critter problems or anything like that, you can hit me up as well. c.woperations17905@gmail.com or cwops@protonmail.com.
That's how I'm going to put it too. Critter problems. All right, man. I really appreciate you coming on. And again, I think we'll be doing this again before you know it. Just because I want to hear some more stories. So, all right, man. Appreciate it.
Bye, bye.
Yeah, I got bad thoughts that make my mind scared. Hold me hostage and they don't fight fair. Who gon' pray for me and wipe on my tears? Who gon' save me if you not right here? Move this darkness and make my sight clear. Take me your way cause I don't like here. Ghosts of my past, they feeling the night air. Wake me up, I'm trapped in my nightmares. Wake me up, I'm trapped in my nightmares. Drowning, I'm off the deep end. Apparitions of all my demons. All my thoughts are committing treason. All alone, who gon' hear me screaming? Manifestations of my fears. Regrets that stretched out for light years. Can almost touch the light, homie, it's right there. Body free but trapped in my nightmares. Wake me up, don't let me drown. All the lights are fading now. All my life is fading now. All my life is fading now. Wake me up, don't let me drown. All my life is fading now. All my life is fading now. Body free but trapped in my nightmares. Wake me up, I'm trapped in my nightmares. Trapped in my nightmares.